Just one more presentation to get through before lunch, so I'm going to try and make this quick. So you probably wonder, how can you say SEC reporting and revolution in the same sentence with a straight face? But let me tell you why that is. Because there's this group of people in every company who, once the quarter closes, they've got between 35, 45 days, they've got to take all the financials, get it organized, get it prepared, get it filed with the SEC. It's extremely high pressure, one mistake type of thing and you lose your job. It's just a very intense environment. And what they do now is they create Word documents, spreadsheets, mail stuff around. Somebody's in charge of gathering this stuff up from everybody, get it to the auditors, get it to the lawyers, get it back, get everything done. And we just said, there's a better way to do this. What if let's make this a collaborative experience, and what better place to do that than in the cloud? If we give everybody a place where they can go, work together, make all their changes collaboratively, and then file it. TurboTax does it with your taxes. It will just walk you through the process. You press a button and file it. Why can't we do the same thing with your SEC reports and let you control and monitor that the whole time? And this is just a quick look at what we've done. We were silly enough to go write a word processor and a spreadsheet in Adobe Flex, which, when you look at the effort to do that, was doing cloud, a scalable cloud environment, was a piece of cake compared to the Word. They say writing a word processor is one of the hardest things you'll do, and I can vouch for it. So we give people an environment, very nice environment to go in. You author your documents, you work on them together. Once you're done, it steps you through the 6 steps. Test file, you file, you're done. Any change you make in one place, if somebody comes in and changes a number, your controller changes a number at the last minute in your balance sheet, that gets automatically reflected in your 8K filing, your press release that needs to go out, in your script that your CEO is going to use during his conference call. And so it's all up to date and in one place. Our platform is kind of unique. As I mentioned, we started with Adobe Flex. Flash is kind of the user interface, so very rich, very sophisticated user interface. We use Google App Engine as sort of our core engine where our primary services and data storage is located. But we have all these other processes that we use as well. So we have, for example, some Windows platforms. There's an open source viewer process that we get from the SEC. We've got several Linux platforms. We've got some stuff on MySQL. All this stuff has to fit in. And so we have this kind of hybrid Google App Engine environment and then a lot of things running. And those have to scale the same way that App Engine does when we scale our environment, which scales very well for our sort of core data. But all this other stuff that is coming in from different places has to scale the same way. And we're a small company. I don't have a lot of people to devote to maintaining all this stuff and building it out. So really I've got one person, kind of part of a developer. And so that's where we started looking at, Amazon is a great environment for us. I came from an environment where I used to do large PLM installations in large companies like the Fords and GMs, and I'm very familiar with that data center environment. And we saw Amazon, EC2 is just this great environment, but there's also work that's got to do to maintain all the server arrays and everything that we're doing. And so we looked at RightScale, and at first I was pretty skeptical because it's an environment where we're not so focused on our server images, right? So we found they've got packages like to deploy Tomcat, Apache, configure that on the server with pre-built server images. I was skeptical that this could all work, but the bottom line, we found it works very well. It rocks, really, because we spend our time, I spend a little bit of developers' time just configuring these templates that we're making, and we spin up new instances. And we kind of came to this conclusion too. Hey, our production servers are just disposable things. If we need to do something new, we're just going to tweak our template, start up a new one, and throw away the old ones. Really the aha, moment when I really kind of got this came, we were going through one of our regular security audits. So we had somebody come in and do, our penetration tests and everything, audit our environment. And it went very well, but they said, oh, you know what, there's some vulnerabilities, open SSL, open SSH, you've got different servers out here, we need to just patch those and you'll be good. And so, the way we would normally have done that is gone through, update each of our images, get everything. We had 2 or 3 different Linux flavors. And so we got this news on a Friday. Of course, it comes in like a Friday evening as I'm getting ready to go home. And so I called Jason, my developer over here, actually, did the work on this stuff, and he got it started out the next morning. So he took the script. He said, RightScale has this Ubuntu image that's got all the patches in that we need. I need to change some paths in our scripts, but let's consolidate let's put all these on one image. And so even working through his kids' soccer games and whatnot, by Saturday afternoon, he'd spun up the new these new instances of our various server platforms. So we had it up in a test environment. We're running against it. We basically rebuilt and redeployed our data center in under 12 hours with part of a guy doing it. We continued to test on it. I think Monday we finally just turned off the old servers and kept the new ones running, and effectively we had swapped out our data center. When we started looking at this environment, one of our concerns is, are people going to be ready to buy into cloud computing? This, again, remember, was 2 years ago. Lots changed since then. To me, anybody who's worked in this environment, it's kind of a no-brainer, but people who are really still sort of scared of the cloud or thinking about it, so we have, here's a list of things that, reasons why we think cloud is a better solution. And of course, the one people always come to is security. Well, how are you going to, guarantee my data? You're talking about pre-release financial data here, so it's pretty sensitive stuff. But it's also, the fact that we've got a controlled environment. What are you doing now? Oh, you're emailing your documents and your spreadsheets around to other people. Well, what kind of controls do you have over that? How much do you invest in your own data center security? And we've really found that it's a non-issue for us. Everything from small, mid-sized to Fortune 100 companies we're finding ready to accept this, ready to move on. We still have to answer the big 300-page, security questionnaires. We still have to go through all the same stuff, but, now that we've basically got everything in place. And in fact, the other great advantage for somebody like me is I'm not hiring a bunch of administrators to run this. In fact, we're working with LTech now, who we're able to say to them, hey, since we're all on RightScale, you guys can give us running our data center, so 24/7, just keeping watch over everything, doing the security audit stuff for us. And so we're essentially able to outsource all that, and I'm able to keep, developers focused on building features, and it's just a great relationship. For us being a small startup, there's no way without the cloud that we could have grown to this scale and acquired customers as fast as we are and have been able to scale up with the costs that we have. So that's our story. We're pretty excited about it. It's, financial reporting. It has some very cool things under the covers. Thanks for giving me your time.